Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Good morning, everyone. We just within very short period of time, we are going to start our second day of this hidden national level workshop. কিন্তু বন্ধ করে দিলে কি করবো? Okay, good morning, one and all. Good morning, our today's speaker, Professor Devandiran sir, and our esteemed participants from different universities and institutions across the country. So today we are here to continue our second day of this session of this 3 days national level workshop. So without any delay, let us start the session. And let me just take the privilege to introduce our honorable speaker of the day. So we have today Professor C. Devandiran sir. He is currently the head of the Department of Social Work, Mizoram Central University. He completed his MA in Social Work from Sacred Heart College, Tirupattur, Chennai, and completed his PhD from University of Madras, Chennai. He also obtained postgraduate diploma in rural development from IGNOU, New Delhi. Regarding his academic career in teaching, he joined as a lecturer in Sacred Heart College in the year of 2001. Later, he joined in Mizoram University in the year of 2012. Sir has completed 2 research projects. He has been also invited as a speaker in various reputed, various international and national events. He has a series of publication of books, author book, and editors, and also chapters in different edited books. He has published various research papers in the reputed journal, national and international. So we really feel honored and privileged to have you, sir, in this session today. And I believe it will definitely enlighten us with your year-long experiences that you are going to share with us. So, sir, without any delay, I hand over the session to you. Sir, over to you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Sir, Devandiran, sir.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, sir.
So first, I'm very, very happy to meet you all in this online platform. And before going to
Stop
particular
sharing your
session,
screen.
I would like to thank the Vice Chancellor, Monitor, and the Dean and the Organizing Secretary, Dr. Vijay Das, having a faith in me that I will do.
So we can wait 2 minutes, let the participant be in, and then we will start.
Shall I continue, sir? Shall I continue, sir?
Sir, you may continue, please. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you are audible. I'm also audible, is it? I'm also audible. Okay, is it right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So first and foremost, I would like to thank the Vice Chancellor Talukar and the Dean and the Organizing Secretary Dr. Vijay Das for this giving a wonderful platform to meet you and to interact and have a different type of understanding in this COVID-19 time. During so I take this wonderful opportunity and thankful to all the organizing team as well. And I will go to the session right now. I'm going to share. Am I
Sir,
able to share the
sorry for the
PPT?
interruption. We are not able to hear you.
Can you hear me now, sir? Satya? I'm audible, is it right, sir? Okay. So now I would like to share the PPT now. The
Sir,
PPT is
please.
visible.
No, sir.
PPT
Yeah,
is not
no.
visible.
Now it is okay, sir. You just present.
It is visible now.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Shall we continue now? And
Yeah.
I'm very happy again the scopes and opportunities of fieldwork education during and post-COVID time. We are going to discuss in this particular topic, actually. So let's move on one by one. And before 10 minutes, I will stop. We will have a discussion or accordingly. And the objective of my presentation is to understand or to get an understanding of present status of field practicum. The first objective, to get an understanding of present status of field practicum. And the second objective of this particular session is to educate and explore the scope and opportunities of field education during and post-COVID outbreak. And the last objective is to suggest for overcoming the limitations to fulfill the gaps in practicum. So, based on these three objectives, I have prepared a slide and the content goes accordingly. Now, we move on to the slide. Structure of presentation based on the objectives. First is introduction. I'm going to give an introduction about the topic and the current existence of field practicum, FWP field practicum, and take it in any way. And limitations and gaps in field work practice, present status of field practicum, concept and definitions, types and classifications, rethinking field practicum in accordance with Corona, scope and opportunities, conclusion. So this is the structure of my presentation. Now, you are all well aware that yesterday itself the workshop started. It is a 3-day workshop. And you know what is field work. I'm not going to talk starting from what is social work and what is field work, the definitions, all those things you know very well. But I would like to highlight some of the aspects in order to brush up our memories. Because already we are in COVID-19, that regular system of learning is switched over to a different paradigm. Therefore, we have to just keep our memories. Workshop. Social work is a profession. That social work is a profession. What type of profession it is? It is profession. It is a helping profession. It is a problem solving profession. It is a profession which not only enables, also giving a satisfaction for an individual when you do the profession, love the profession. Definitely it is really once you work with the people, you can understand it. Therefore, field practicum is an essential component. It is one of the essential components of social work. It is the yesterday Dr. Desai was telling about, it is a backbone of our social work profession. Field work is the backbone. Today we are all lifting our collars, professionals, but there is other debate is there, but no need to worry about that one. For us, yes, it is, and it is an essential component. Not only that, it is an integral component. It is an integral part of the social work curriculum in a social work program, which is why it is meant to practice. It is theory which we study in the theory. Therefore, it is called profession. Why we call profession? It is profession, the theory which we study and practice. That's what. So these things and all, yesterday you and gave an explanation about that. It is meant for what? Social work is meant for practicing. The field work is meant for practicing the theory which you are studying in a classroom environment or in a virtual classroom, whatever it may be. You have to go and practice in the social work field. Field refers to different settings: child welfare setting, youth welfare setting, women welfare setting, and depending upon the specializations, the practice would be carried out. Further, this profession provides social work practice laboratory. Sometimes now we have to move into this practice laboratory. How can only science students can do laboratory? No, we can also, social sciences people can also do laboratory, especially social work discipline. So in this way, the field work is a big asset for social work curriculum. It is a backbone, this essential component. Shall I move to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Because sometimes this technology, I don't want to be a monologue session. It should be a dialogue between you in a virtual mode. That is what now and then I will ask questions. You have to give a response. And I'm very happy
Thank you,
that
sir.
more than 70 participants joined in. I'm so happy. So that way,
Thank you.
it is a wonderful platform to connect each other, to understand each other, and how to face challenging. This is a challenging profession. Social work is a challenging profession. COVID-19 is not a problem for us. It is a challenge for us. We have to identify various methods, models, techniques, how we can go about it, the social field work. People should not tell. Already there are a lot of misconceptions about social work regarding field work. Yesterday, sir was talking about it. Why I was attending the full session? Because accordingly, some of the aspects I don't want to repeat. Therefore, I have made myself free to listen and understand what the content of that yesterday's presentation. So therefore, it will be easy for me to deliver a lecture on this particular topic. Now let's move on to the second slide. Current, that is current. Oh, sorry. Am I connecting? Saran has gone.
Sir?
Connecting.
Yes, sir. It is fine.
Okay, okay. Because connectivity, these are all the challenges I come
Yes,
across.
sir.
These are all the challenges in the internet, in the online virtual platform. We have challenges. So now we move on to the second slide, that is talking about the current existence fieldwork structure. Current existence of fieldwork structure. How today? This is yesterday. Sir was also talking about, but in my own way, I would like to present here. Field practicum enables the students to facilitate, connect classroom knowledge with real world experience. The first point is here, field practicum enables the students, the social work trainees, the social work students to facilitate, to help, to enable, connect classroom knowledge with real world experience. What is happening in the situation? We have to connect, but when we come to it is really a challenging now. We have to make a lot of challenges to face, but when we have the courage to face the challenge, definitely we will overcome everything. So what you study in the classroom knowledge, the social work theory, methods, tools, techniques, whatever it is, you have to go and practice with the people, with the community, with individuals, groups, or societies. So that is the current system existence, the fieldwork structure in most of the schools. Strengthening the which is a component of social work, the field essential component, which is making to strengthen the students in understanding the clientele system. The clientele system may be the individuals, groups, communities, our society at large. So it is keeping on making you to understand field practicum. You lot of technique, all those components are there. And the third, field practicum provides platform in assimilating the ethics, principles, and values of social work. Field practicum provides a platform. It's a platform. It is connecting. Now I am connecting internet platform, a platform. It is a wireless platform which I am connecting with you. But field practicum is a platform in assimilating the ethics, principles, and values of social work. We have our own ethics, we have our own principles, we have our own values in social work to be followed when we go do the research work or do the field work. Use the method help the students to access the needs of the community and the intervention strategies at meso level. Meso means mid-level. Mostly we have connection with mid-level. At higher level, when we go for students, we go for higher studies, then they go for policy level, they go for macro level. So the field practicum helps students to access the needs of the community. What are the felt needs of the community? What are the challenges the community currently? Accordingly, this was now the situation for the last 8 months. We are all having lot of things, challenges we are facing. So develop the intervention strategies as meso level. Field practicum prepares the students in advocating rights of people. It is also preparing advocates the rights of the people. Each and every individual, they have their own rights. Community people, the marginalized groups, vulnerable groups, they have their own rights. So these are all the current existence of field structure and types of field work. This is also yesterday. I just remember. There are two types of work. One is concurrent field work that yesterday I taught you, and then the block field work. The second one we have block field work. I hope you are all noting these points because it will be useful when you write or in your electronic, you store in your mind, because most of the time what happens during this electronic media, we all forget it so easily after flipping through the WhatsApp messages. So when you write down, it will become a muscle memory for you. Muscle memory. You will write it. Oh, it will store. That's what there is one formula. One time writing is equal to 10 times reading. So therefore, I request my participants to write down and note down. The concurrent field work is, you know what is concurrent? Every week, sir was telling, I don't want to go further explanation. This is then block field work. A block means at a stretch for a month or 15 days. It depends upon the nature of the institution they offer. In TISs or in other institutions, we in our department, we offer both. This time during this COVID-19 time, we decided to have, earlier we made an experiment that block field work, and it is required as a required. Now in some of the institutions it is like an optional. It may be optional, they may go for, and they have in the block field work, one is required is there, optional is there. In the concurrent field work, and then summer placement in optional. Block placement is also another one is there. Usually in many institutions during the 4th semester, it is like a pre-employment training for the student trainees. So in that way, this is the way. Our department social work curriculum consists of concurrent field work. We have block field work. These are the two things we have. And this no need to be several campus there. It's all these components know very well. I don't want to. I'll move on to the next slide. Yeah. You see the slide? The slide is visible, is it?
Yes, sir. Slide is visible, but sometimes voice is breaking.
Okay, because of the network problem,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
I hope
now
so.
it's fine. Now it's fine, sir. Continue.
Okay, I'll come closer to the mic also.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then limitations and gaps in current system. So this also sir was discussing. So first one is no uniform standard fieldwork manual and perplexes trainees and students in practice. So no uniform standard fieldwork. That's a big problem. These are all the difficulties we have in the current system. Field practicum for MSW, BSW program. There is no standard fieldwork manual across the country, across the states. We don't have. Because our country is a multi-diversity, it is multilingual, multicultural, all aspects. In Northeast itself, I'm here for the last 1.5 decades. I come to know a lot of each and every tribe, they have their own uniqueness, something very interesting to learn. So that's what fieldwork agencies lack in professional social workers in guiding social work training students. This is also, you can see the picture. The agency picture is there. Stepping into the field. Fieldwork agencies admit many students in one stretch where individual attention is being miles away. We don't have proper manual. We don't have proper connection, no professional social workers. So these are all some of the limitations and gap we have in our curriculum. Without knowing these things, it is very difficult to go for a scope. When first and foremost, we have to understand the lacuna. What is the challenge faces by this particular profession? Based on that only, I'll go to the topic, the scope and the opportunities. So lack of students' initiative, creativity are biggest challenge for fieldwork supervisor to deal with. Not only for the supervisor, for the students also, creativity. Lack of students' initiative. People are not, it is, in some cases, people are not monotonous, lethargic. They are very lethargic. Creativity is missing. You can see that how creative the picture shows here. Creative, C, how it comes. R, how it comes. E, how it comes. Each and every, the R shows like a tap. When you look at the picture, one picture speaks 1,000 words. So the creativity, the C, R is, it is like a null, tap, and E, A. So like this, each and every, you can see this, that is what the creativity, you can see this, every, the youth are having lot of creativity, energy, dynamism. So in that way, we can put it into action, the potential force. Many fieldwork agencies are still in lacking of following work culture. You know, work culture is also another big problem in the agencies. If you go to the agency at 10 o'clock means the agency supervisor, the agency staff will come lately, lethargically. That is also another biggest challenge, which adversely affects the professional approach of the students. Licensing of social work profession, there is no. So you see the picture, creativity is an imagination. If you have a good imagination, that's what dream. When you want to dream means you should have an imagination. And creativity, then only creativity will come. Empathy, innovation, value creation, these are all which is very, very essential for a social worker. And like this work culture, we have to boost ourselves, we have to encourage ourselves, we have to motivate ourselves. I'm very happy that this type of topics have to be discussed now and then in order to have a wonderful motivation. Yeah, I mean, self motivation is needed. Sometimes our friends' motivation is needed. In that way, this is very wonderful, which is also not only used for society, it is also useful for your personal development as well. We move on to the next slide. Present status of field practicum. Now, existing status of field practicum in this particular scenario, we have seen. Now we are seeing the present scenario, how the system is going on in field practicum. COVID-19 pandemic has created an unprecedented, unexpected challenges, crisis for us. No one has dreamt that 6 months or 8 months, all there will be a lockdown. No one has dreamt it. I never dreamt that I'm concept I have not understood at all. And I was doing an exercise. These particular last 8 months, from the month of March for India, from March 17th or 18th onwards, lockdown started. So what happened? Our system is completely changed. Getting up from the bed, you can see that, my dear student friends. Every system is completely, our breakfast time has changed, our lunch time has changed, our dinner time is changed, sleeping time is changed, everything. It is completely, not only, it is a globally, this particular phenomena is disturbed everyone. People are having lot of tribulations and trespasses in real life situations. Every day when they get up from a bed, they have a fear where this virus will come. It is an invisible virus which is very powerful to kill the people. It comes to either it doesn't see the divide, rich and poor divide, economic divide. It won't see the economic divide. And so that it is really people are all in a fear psychosis. Every day when we get up from a bed, nowadays only slowly we are part and parcel of this coronavirus. We are symptomatic things. And Because of this, globally, what happened? All the education institutions, schools, colleges, universities have been closed down due to this lockdown. And what happened? The future of the citizens of our country, school children, college students, university students, they are in bleak. What to do? That's what is the alternative mechanism? Apart from that, you can see the picture there. Rural urban difference is there, divide is there, digital divide is there, rural urban and urban differences are there. And this particular thing is really disturbing almost all walks of life in this country. Not only in this country, everywhere in the globe, the whole world. And digital divide itself, a great challenge for us. In Northeast, connectivity problem. And how many of them? Just I was going to see the statistics, digital divide in India. 82% population with no access to the internet. And 1.2% population with fixed broadband. Population with mobile broadband, 5.5%. And households with a personal computer, 12%. Imagine, work from home, it is possible. And no, many people do not, reskilling is not also needed. Therefore, now, in order to replace this, completely we have to depend on the technology, complete dependency on technology. Today, because of this technology, we are all depending on this technology. It is part and parcel of our life system nowadays. I still remember, I would like to give an example to you here. Our own forefathers, those days, good old days. I know my grandfather, he was a smoker. So what they will do in some of the rural areas, you can see that they keep a BD under the pillow. They go sleep. Immediately after they wake up from the bed, immediately they take from under the pillow, they take the BD and they will smoke. Nowadays, what happened? It's completely changed. We keep mobile phone under the pillow or nearby. Immediately we get up from the bed, we will take the electronic gadget, mobile phone. Complete dependency. Without the mobile phone, we cannot live. It has become a inseparable part of our life. So that is what we are moving towards this technology, what we call 4.0 industrial revolution. 4.0 industrial revolution, technology era. Everything is technology. Now we move on to the next slide. What happened? I was keep on asking questions. Why? You can see this nowadays everywhere, webinar. You see social work institutions, they always have a COVID-19 in their mind, and then based on this, how field practicum can be done, how online classes can be done. So I was thinking myself, question arises in mind due to COVID-19. We should ask our questions, which is probing in my mind always. So I was jotting down some of the questions, which is always coming. Where does our field practicum going or during this pandemic? During this pandemic, where we are moving? Really, we are practicing the field work or online classes are going on, but field work, because our nervous people, we have to go one-to-one. We should go and meet the people, but now connection with people is cut. You can't go to village. You can't go to meet the people. If you are going to meet, there are so many SOP rules. There are so many COVID-19 protocols you have to follow. Otherwise, difficult. You will be in threat. Meeting people itself a big threat for us. So how come we are going to overcome this? How long do we go about it? We do not know how long. Every day lockdown is keep on level increasing. Now the death toll is also increasing. Very difficult for us. So that how we go about this fieldwork curriculum, fieldwork practice during this COVID-19 situation. So these questions arised in my mind. What is the strategy for ensuring fieldwork in learning process? What is the strategy? What strategy we can use it? What technique we can ensure fieldwork in learning processes? Already the other discipline people are really watching us. We have to overcome this. We have to prove that with evidence based. Everything is documenting. Evidence is nowadays needed to fulfill our requirements or components. So do the current model of fieldwork curriculums fit in? Question comes, do the current model of fieldwork curriculum fit in? No. For this particular disaster time, to this particular pandemic time, it never fits in. So we should have, year after, I was discussing with some of the medical practitioners, they were telling that corona will come and go. Another virus will come, but we have to be ready to prepare how to tackle these issues. We should have a contingency plan. When I'm going to give a lecture means immediately I should see contingency plan. For example, battery is full or not. If suppose power goes, if the bandwidth goes, what is the other alternative we should have? So this is the first lesson taught us for the social workers to identify, to prepare during the disaster time. For earthquake, disaster, we study in theories, disaster management, all we go and help people. But in this particular new novel virus, this novel virus created a new situation for us to develop a new curriculum. So thanks to coronavirus, at the same time, we have to pray for all the people to come out of this particular pandemic, and we should face it with courage with this challenge. So that's what we should develop, a new model, new curriculum for this particular fieldwork in this current situation. Another 4 more questions also arised in my mind. What do we do our clients with limited access to the internet? I told you already, digital divide, how it was. What do we do for our clients with limited access to internet? Is it any alternative is there? No. Slowly it will come. The government of India is taking a step to increase the bandwidth, and other measures are taking care. And economy is now down. Because of that, it is a smartphone or a cell phone enough to allow us to provide the care that is needed? Question comes, is a smartphone or cell phone, what are in smartphone, cell phone, iPhone, what are enough to allow us to provide the care that is needed? Whether it is helping us, you have all the technology, but you cannot help certain times. Are we reaching all those who need us now? Many people are no. It has shown a big challenge that how many migrant workers are there. This COVID-19 revealed us how much population are, the young people are all in the urban area. It is something, migrant population is so high, unemployment problem is very high. Are we able to provide the technology needed for those who need accessible technology? Yes. Sometimes you need aids, otherwise we cannot connect each other. What is the situation in this particular situation? So that these are all the questions was pondering in my mind. Based on this, what could be the scope and opportunities? Now let us see some of the definitions, because the theoretical understanding is needed for us. The field practicum is a dynamic course that challenges students to apply social work knowledge, skills, and values within an organizational context. The fieldwork practicum is a dynamic course. Dynamic means changing, which is changing. We cannot apply the same type of procedure everywhere. It is more flexible. It will change. The challenges students to apply social work knowledge, skills, and values within an organizational context. Depending upon the organizational context, if you are working in agencies, child welfare agencies, women welfare agencies, or physically challenged or health setting, accordingly, the values, knowledge values in the organizational context varies. That is what the field practicum is, a dynamic course. It is a dynamic course. Underline the word dynamic course. It is a vital dimension of student students graduate and postgraduates social work education. So it is a vital dimension. Field work is a practicum is a vital dimension for whom? For the students, graduates, BSW, postgraduates, MSW, and social work education. It gives a lot of understanding. That's what the objective, first objective focuses towards it. So when you look at how we can study work from home, those new programs are generated. According to the United Nations report, we have to see knowledge, value, skills and values all goes together. You need knowledge, you need skill, practice, that you need certain values to follow it. So that's what, according to United Nations report, field practicum is important that students should be helped to develop the attitude of mind. You need an attitude of mind which leads them to make connections between study and relief. It is needed vital that this should be done if students are to become professional practitioners in field, rather good natural amateurs of technicians apply narrow skills by the value of thumbs method that is going on, moving forward. So it is an attitude of mind which leads make them to make connection between how to you should know how we go and work with the people, and how to adapt the technology as a professional practitioners, good natural amateur of technician applying apply by the rules of thumb method. So in that way you have to apply how the quality happens. So Betsy Oshal, director of field education, University of Michigan, stated that field placement is not a job. It is a professional opportunity to learn to be a social worker. It is a professional opportunity for us. For me, it is an opportunity to deliver my inputs, what are the theories I have, the knowledge, the skills to be adhered, followed. A social worker, by demonstrating professional conduct and fascinating the expectations of role to play in a. So demonstrating your own, enacting your own, and helping out, conduct and fascinating the expectation of role to play in a given, in the different settings, health setting or whatever it may be, setting or women welfare setting. Accordingly, you have to play the role of a social worker. The field practicum talks about. So it is having a tripod concept: knowledge and skills. So these things, through knowledge you are getting a value, from value skills imbibing each other, it is well intertwined with each other. So things you should keep in your mind. Scope and opportunities. Now the real topic, scope and opportunities. When we come to scope and opportunity, preparation of field work training module is need of the hour. It is a wonderful scope for prepare a field work training module in the field work education. The artificial bridge between social work education and practice. We have to make it, it should be the real bridge. We have to make it real connection with the preparation training module. It is a big exercise for us. It's a big Herculean task for all. We should have a separate module to carry out. Each institution, schools should have a training module based on the settings, based on these institutions, which is catering for the people, which is catering for the society. So it is the need of the hour. That is the, and the opportunity, scope and opportunities always goes together. So in this way, we have to prepare a field training module, which is lacking. There is a gap. That's what we have seen, the lacuna there. The field work ethics in accordance with SOP and COVID-19 protocols. So field work ethics, now we should not follow the ethics of already we have social work, have theory, knowledge, ethics, principles, techniques, tools, methods. At the same time, now during this particular COVID-19 situation, which is a post-COVID-19, safety protocols. When you go to the field, nearby, you have to choose nearby, not long distance. So the paradigm shift and innovations have come. Now we have to shift the paradigm through innovations. How we can meet each other, how we can, without meeting the person, how we can counsel through electronic media. How, suppose if there is a necessary, if there is an essentially you have to go meet the person, life is more important. So therefore you should follow the post COVID-19 or COVID-19 safety protocols, the mask, all the government what it is telling, the SOP, standard operating process to be followed, procedure to be followed. So you have to follow all those norms, then alone we have to go. So accordingly we have to formulate a separate ethics in accordance with the SOP and COVID-19 protocols. That is also needed. Dear student friends, make an exercise, have a discussion with your own like-minded people. Paradigm shift, innovations, in what way we can do it. We can make out the concept of field work is changing now. Concept of work changing. How field work earlier, we have to go and meet the people. We have to go here. Now what happened? The field work itself using the virtual media, virtual way of taking. So how we can, the concept of field work is changing. The shift paradigm is shifting now. So therefore, these are all the scope and opportunities emerging from the COVID-19, post-COVID-19 or during COVID-19 situation, especially for field work education in social work. And let's move on to the another slide, refining structures. Now you come to refining structures. So block field work, concurrent field work, all we have to refine it now. Okay, depending upon the situation, how we can go. Whether it could be a block field work for 15 days, how concurrent field work is more. Each and every field work has got its own limitations. Concurrent field work, every week when we go to our 2 days, then you have an intervention. You have individual conferences or group conferences with your agency supervisor and also with your faculty supervisor. So redefining the structures. Now, how? Virtual internships. You can make it virtual. You can use telephonic interview, supervision, and accordingly use of technology. So use of technology can be used here, virtual media, and you can use group meetings, conducting group meetings, and network with field work agencies, like a tripart connection, institution, agency, and student. So like this, improved networking with field work agencies. So separately nowadays, we should have a separate directory, proper directory to be maintained, which are the agencies going for a field work. Each institution should have a directory, the details neatly. Then immediately you can have a information, the WhatsApp number or whatever other email, everything, the other virtual way of connecting in order to get feedback through online internships. You know, the picture shows clearly nowadays the group meetings are done through this Zoom meeting, Google Meet. Right now we are having a Google meeting. What, thanks to technology, sitting in one place, we are making and doing in order to share the expertise from other big institutions. This is giving a wonderful platform for us. We have to redefine the structures, reskilling and reshaping our fieldwork system is needed. So using this, because technology is mandatory. Without, we are depending towards technology. How well versed we are going to use the technology. So for our social work curriculum, social work, field work education, in order to connect with different levels, micro level, meso level, and macro level, and at all the different sections of people, rich, poor, and then different type of disadvantage, vulnerable section, all. Give lot of ideas the social work profession. In due course of time, disaster comes means we should not worry about disaster. We should ready to go about it in order to carry out the Herculean task, which is moving towards the noble work of social work profession. Let's move on to the another slide. Continuous meeting with field partners will ensure in understanding the guidelines of field practicum mutually. So we are stepping out into the field. A field work manual is essential. Continuous meeting with field partners will ensure in understanding the guidelines of field practicum mutually. We will understand what are the difficulties, what are the challenges faced in the field, real field, real world experience when you go to the people. So training is needed. And in the lab facilities inside in our own institutions, lab type of experience I will explain when we go to the other slides. I will give what is lab and laboratory type of experiences. Rigorous training can be given to the students to practice online counseling. One of the important way of using the internet is through the rigorous how to give counseling. The ethics is needed. Talking with the patient, with the client, talking with the other officials, how etiquette is also needed. Some people do not know what information to share with people, which platform you have to share. You know, all educated people, sometimes I still remember due to this WhatsApp problem, sharing, lot of challenges people are facing, difference of opinion are coming, why this person. So have to be vigilant and alert enough to the information. Counseling also, what to give counseling, how to start the counseling procedure. Yearly the intake phase is different. Here the intake phase is different. Is different. So it is changing. Action is a relationship. So through how relationship between all those etiquettes separately I request to be come out to stepping into the field work. Rigorous training is needed. Every to online counseling using platform. I'm going for.
Sir, sir, it's a voice is breaking.
Will you able to listen?
Hello.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. It's fine now. Yes.
Okay. So I'm not going fast. No.
No, sir. It's fine. Absolutely, you are going.
Again, it is a challenge. Okay, let's move on to the another slide. Helpline for providing psychological support. Helpline for providing psychological support. Psychological support and of social work. Social work. So like an offered by the institution or psychological support or online attending. They have a lot of challenges. In my family, my child is asking, she is doing class 5, when is school will reopen? So they are all frustrated. Depression, anxiety they are having. How long they will sit? The characteristic of the child is not sitting in one place. They want to move, but they cannot move. Setting up of skills laboratories will enhance the student simulation. So schools of social work skills laboratories enhancing to build everything in a phone now, using not really using a telephone, mobile phone, how he behaves, how his body language would be, everything you have to simulation type of thing enhances the student simulation. Online internship can be institution for technology using online can be home school is in the home school workers should initiate the departments, social work departments, internship, practicing, exposure, learning, experience, all these things have to be taken care. So that's what this is talking about. Then we move on to the another slide, exploring feasible mechanism for fieldwork placements and practices. Exploring feasible mechanisms for fieldwork placements and practices. So virtual fieldwork placement. Now, what we are exploring the feasible mechanisms in order to tackle, in order to find a solution for this challenge. So, what are the feasible? What is advisable? What is really materialized? Is there any mechanisms for field work placements and practices? Virtual field work placements. Yes, we can make virtual field work placements over discussing over phone, using media, using Google Meet or Zoom Meet or whatever it is, other type of platforms, whichever it is. Virtual internships can be placed through the fieldwork coordinator or a fieldwork director, whatever it may be. And you know, the Facebook, all other media, use of video based experience like YouTube, documentary, short film. So now we can make, instead of making, we can prepare a documentary program. We can make a YouTube documentaries, YouTube live through Facebook, some lectures, giving a link. Hereafter people will talk, what is the link? No, hereafter people want the, what is the number? They won't ask. They will ask, what is the link? Please send the link through WhatsApp. So people, that jargons. I was doing an exercise, these particular time, COVID-19, what are the jargons, what are the words we use in our day-to-day life? For the last 8 months or almost 6 months, definitely, use this in our mind, it is always striking. One is corona, frontline workers, and death toll, vaccine, and what is lockdown. And I was asked, what you learned? They were all telling this type of things. And quarantine, use the term what is quarantine. What is quarantine? And protocols, and post-COVID era, pre-COVID era. So all these new terms are coming up. Just telling. So in that way, what happened? The video-based experiences, YouTube, documentary, short films during this particular time, how the work environment changed, how people are mental health affected. So creating, and based on this mechanism, feasible mechanism can be used. Creating a better ecosystem for risk-free environment. Risk-free environment ecosystem. When you people, when they want to come, we have to keep the sanitizer, everything, and work environment risk-free. No risk. If you go to that particular place, people should not have any fear at all. Yes, with all this first-hand sanitary where everything have to be kept ready, all those things according to the protocols. Experiential sharing through webinars, online lectures, or offline means. Experiential sharing. So offline means, so telephonic interviews with experts like academicians, researchers, scholars, activists. So experiential sharing, experiential sharing. People now from when I'm giving a lecture, through that in between also I'm giving my own experience through webinar, online lectures, or offline means of sharing, sometimes through telephonic interviews with experts like academicians, researchers, research scholars, activists, etc. So in this way, exploring feasible mechanism for fieldwork placement and practices are coming up. Let's move on to the another slide. Apart from that, it is also exploring as various projects we can write, small projects, mini projects for school dropout prevention in a village. How we can prevent, how we can improve the literacy rate for a village, for elderly people, adult literacy can be improved. And also the issue-based projects, women issues, discrimination, exploitation, migratory workers, migrant workers, producing literature reviews. Apart from that, another, we can make the students to produce literature reviews. Many people do not know the skill of in social work research, how to review a literature. That is a skill. Taking part in telephonic conferences. Taking part in telephonic conferences and counseling, adding elements to the website, Each students can be assigned to issues. So adding elements to the website means you see that some people, our own department website, with the help of students intervention, they can improve the content of the website through our own department, the activities, programs. That's what every institution, they have their own channels, YouTube channels, and all the photo gallery, everything can be improved. Through that, we come to study the whole institution, what type of activities are taking place. And each students can be assigned to issues. Each student, you take this issue, and then they come with a lot of suggestions, lot of challenges what they face. So in the school issues, or the health issues faced by the challenges faced by the COVID-19 patients, or other type of people, the family affected people, or the people who are in home quarantine, how they are facing challenges, psychological trauma they are facing. So in this way, all these telecounseling, teleconferences through website, these type of activities are really coming up, a new way of substituting our field work, conventional method of field work into new method of field work model. So now let's move on to the another slide. Social work methods. Now my there is no voice break, is it right?
Yes, sir, it's fine.
Thank you. So social work methods, when we, social work methods, how many methods of social work? Now, how social work methods can be used in this COVID era, how we can make, instead of, without meeting the people, or without having a direct contact with the people, how we can do. In that way, say for example, the first method, the primary method, casework. When we take casework, in this casework, this is one-to-one relationship, one-to-one. We suppose there is a deliberate need of meeting the clientele, your own clientele. By the time, you should follow the whole procedure, what is called SOP procedure, all those things. Then alone you can go and meet the client. Case study presentations can be done. So that can be documented. Earlier, some of the we maintain the case study reports and fieldwork reports, and then fieldwork summary reports, and the best case study, whichever they have done, we make it in a what is called in a hard copy, on a digital copy, we maintain it. That case study presentations done through the virtual medium, we can presentations can be done. And one more, again, through case therapy, lab skills can be formed. Laboratory skills, making all the people how to perform. A person who is an alcoholic, or a person who is a family from a challenge faced by a youth in drug addicted person, or drug use, or any other issues, for example, substance abuse, or a person who is getting the news of COVID-19 positive, how he acts, giving that friend, how you have to counsel them, telecounseling, teletherapy, giving interviewing, lab skills, casework lab, what could be the through intake phase, means how telephonic interview could be done, and how we can identify problem identification phase, how problem can be diagnosed. The laboratory type of settings could be done in a workshop mode. Skill development can be developed through that. There is a picture, you can see the picture. The child was sitting on the lap of the father, but the father figure is not there, which means there is no proper connection, which means the child is longing love. So there must be a great what is called present be done through case studies, small case studies of family, of or case study of the whole case of the presentation. They have how we can with supervisor, interaction with supervisor. There's a platform as supervisor can connect to virtual media. So if you fix the timing, both the people can sit and have a time to interact. So in such a way, social casework method can be implemented during this COVID-19 pandemic. Group work. Let us come to the group work, the second primary method, group work. So you see, group work is another important method which is very, very essential for a social worker. How to behave with the group, how to interact with the group. So in this way, now it is now having its own engaging in group meetings, engaging. Depending upon the nowadays, most of the places, depending upon the agencies, they have a virtual platform. Through that, connecting a Zoom meeting, engaging the group members, depending upon the agency, if it is a very deprived agency, which is a vulnerable group, working for the vulnerable groups, children, how we can make a platform with the help of the institution, and creating promotional material for the center, how we can help based on these type of issues, using the case studies and linking with group work, how we can do it. Accordingly, it will go on. Creating a promotional material for the center, and preparation of group assignments. Group assignments can be given, giving each group. The classroom is divided into 6 groups or 5 groups according to the strength of the class. Then we can give what is called the discussion assignments, different assignments on social work, group work assignment related to group issues, and policy based issues, how we can make it. So taking part in teleconferences, sometimes using teleconferences, conducting quiz programs for group, and school social work with children. So these are all some of the things which is useful for a group work practice. Apart from that, this group assignments will be documented properly, digitalized properly. Then it will be useful for during the pandemic time for your own producers. They can use it for accordingly. So in that way, social work with children can be done. How we can use our own innovation, creative method, promoting the group work method in our field work curriculum without meeting most of the time in person. There is a need by the time we can go. Then we move on to the next slide. The third primary method of social work is community organization. Here comes conducting mini survey in the nearby adopted villages neighborhood. Conducting mini survey in the nearby adopted villages and neighborhood. So say, for example, I told earlier that the university, college system, or whatever the institution belong to, nearby neighborhood or a nearby village. If it is an urban setting, means you have to go for neighborhood, and if it is a rural setting, you have to go to the villages nearby, which is the radius of 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers. Adapt that village. Each students or a group of students can be placed in that village, and then they can conduct a mini survey with the help of the key leaders, the key persons. key persons, and profiling about the village. And then you can use internet resources for making the profile about the villages, how far the information is true, validating the information with the resources accordingly. And suppose if the nearby community organization agency have profiled the village data information, whatever it may be, accordingly. So when you go to the community organization, this particular picture, the with meeting the Kerala, in Kerala, how they were doing during the COVID-19 time, a telephonic interview, fixing time and asking them to come for a counseling. So and then a group based activities, issue based projects, advocacy can be done, PRA with key leaders, with the standard operating procedures and COVID-19 protocols to be followed. Based on this, we can make. And here in Mizoram, what happens, there's a task force is there. In Mizoram, a task force is there. Their village people, they have their own task force. In that task force, our own students are aligned with them, giving the brief about the requirements, how they can give, making guidelines to be followed, and also how they can do a field work along with the task force members, COVID action committee members. They align, and in that way also community organization can be done based on the existing issues. And advocacy, how suppose insurance policies are not there for them, how we can help them, giving an awareness for the community people, and how much this COVID-19 is giving it the spreading level, and how the people have to be careful, because rural people are still, they are not aware of it. So the protocol, just like that, they are going and coming, and in that way it is a bounden duty of the social workers to educate them using this particular method of social work. It is also a scope and opportunity for us. Next, we move on to the another method. This is a secondary method of social work, social research, literature review. I already told you the emerging thing, how we can incorporate those emerging opportunities or the modalities or strategies to be implemented through social work methods. In that social research, literature review. See, people mini research, how to review the literature. People do not know how to review the literature, do not know how to write a book review, how to do. So in that way, giving exercise through skilling them on these particular soft skills of analyzing, writing an abstract, and how to review a book, how to review a literature, secondary source of data. And in that way, the type of activities can be, group activities can be given, and individual activities can also be given through this method of social work research, without with the help of the internet, or with the help of the available search engines, Google. They can, based on the issue, they can download, they can review, attend articles based on that their issue, based on their topic. And in that way, let them then they can discuss with the supervisor, the course teacher, or the agency supervisor. Accordingly, they can do it. And bibliography writing in an APA style. Bibliography writing, people do not know how to write bibliography. There is a separate format is there. So when in this way, we can train the students, the educators, and the students can be trained how to write a bibliography, how a research article to be written, the references, how the references could be quoted, and how it could be cited. What is the APA style? What is the MLA style? American Psychological Association style, the latest edition, how it talks about, and conducting mini survey and projects through research, using the research skills of applications like SPSS, and how giving a best practices research, keeping a case study, how case study can be analyzed using software, and how proposal be taught, how we can write a proposal, how to write a project can be, and how research skills can be enhanced through this available research, through the secondary data, secondary resources available, and how a planning could be done, all these things can be taught through the available resource review writing, and proposal writing and conducting mini survey. How all these students are really lacking. Sometimes when they submit an assignment, they don't know how to even separate technique has to be given, workshop has to be how to review, how to write a bibliography separately. Even those who are doing PhD, pursuing PhD, they are also not very good in bibliography writing. It is a special skill. So in that way, this skill enhancement workshops based on research skill workshops, hands-on training could be given through online training program, online research methodology workshops on qualitative techniques, quantitative techniques, in such a way make out the way of understanding the methods of social work can be incorporated during this COVID-19 situation. It is an opportunity. It is not a threat for us. Let's move on to the another. Research would also be needed in regards to the following topic. So now I was thinking, not separate areas, the gray areas when come out now, because migration is a big issue. Now people, migratory studies are there, but youth, unemployed youth, educated and unemployed youth is to be taken care. Vulnerable groups, marginalized sections of the society, construction workers, and semi-skilled, skilled workers. Scoping and resilience strategies. Resilience. You know, some of the institutions, they don't have, some of the unorganized sector, no salary for them. So organized sector also, there is no salary. How they are coping with, what is their resilience? Vegetable vendors or other type of farmers, what is their marketing strategy? All these things, many issues are coming up. So a lot more avenues are there. Gray areas are there coming up due to this COVID-19 pandemic. New organizational forms and governance mechanisms. New organizational forms and governance mechanisms are adopting in the organizational sector. How the governance could be, what mechanism could be followed, that is governance. And social communication, social relationships during, after the pandemic. The relationship, man is a social animal. How the social communication pattern has changed, how the social relationship pattern has changed. Studies related to behavioral aspects, relationship based studies during this pandemic, people, how they behave. Local conceptualization of dealing with the pandemic. Local knowledge, for example, the people may use that can do this research for photography studies, so in that way, we have to understand things accordingly. So this manner, we have to study. So economy, local economy, small self-help group strategies are taken care. And aligns with among social work and development in health professionals. Aligns between network and social work and health professionals. Basically, how social work can network with the health professionals, and how you can have a building relationship with the people. Accordingly, this particular thing is talking about. And these are all the areas: human rights issues, human rights practice, and social policy practices with reference to pandemic, insurance, social security, and welfare measures for the disadvantaged groups, physically challenged, and especially during this pandemic, I come to understand that women are very much vulnerable, and especially the women group or those who are working in the house, especially in the domestic workers, and so these separate policies can be developed. Social policies, practices can be used. These are all the areas where social work research could be needed with regards to the following topics. And best practices for fieldwork training for evidence-based fieldwork training, documentation, digitalization. So what are the best practices? Based on these things which I have discussed, encourage the students to critically analyze and the social issues and make them publish as an article. Encourage the students to critically analyze the social issues and make them publish as an article. So analysis of social issues. Trainee social work students can be asked to present case study with specific intervention practices. This is the best practices nowadays to be followed. Fieldwork training, documentation, and digitalizing. And also, you see through this presentation, case studies, and then field practicum, the fieldwork reports all have to be the summary report, everything to be kept in order. Then the newcomers can go through. It will give an idea about the situation, profiling of one particular community, profile of one agencies. All those things to be kept in order. Then during this pandemic situation, this disaster situation, these are all very useful for the student trainees. And also schools and fieldwork agencies should engage continuously in practice informed research and research informed practices. So schools and social work agencies should engage continuously in practice. Informed researchers, these are all the researchers carried out in terms of children, in terms of youth, in terms of student, and research informed the practices. Many times it's what happened, many of the institutions, they do not publish it. It is really sitting on the Almira. The publication is really lacking. So fieldwork should have a systematized and customized process among all schools of social work. Systematized and customized process, feasible process in all the schools of social work across the country. Schools and fieldwork agencies should jointly publish the successful model practiced in the community. Successful model practiced in the community. So what happens? Schools and fieldwork agencies should jointly model practiced in the community, which means so school of social which is doing for a long time on decade to decade. New models, so community thing or field setting on the it has to be developed. Jointly they can publish in the report or in the newsletters. What happened? We can see the things to be taken in consideration. Accordingly, we have all the schools emergency be successful model practice. That model will be helpful for all the trainees, the newcomers. Like on the other side, schools have a strict challenge to fields agency for making more effective. Schools can have strict adherence to field supervision. Mutual consent of the agency for making a training more effective and meaningful. That's what is needed. So supervision is having a separate now in this particular COVID-19 era. The time supervision can be improved through this electronic media instead of going and meeting in a person. Where there is a need, we can go and meet it. So this is what it is. And along sometimes agency supervisor can come fix together. You have a discussion with field supervision, whether it could be an individual conference or a group conference, how they can have a connection with this, agencies and institutions and the field work trainings. So social work curriculum can be designed to focus on reflexive learning. Social work curriculum can be designed to focus on reflexive learning. What is the reflexive learning means? Based on the reflections. Yesterday, Sir was using the case studies as a reflection. So in this way, the social work curriculum can be designed to focus on reflective learning towards field education. The artificial bridge between the social work education and practice can be merged through this, built through this electronic media. So in this way, we have come to the last part of this particular session in my lecture, strengthening the fieldwork education through curriculum. How we can strengthen the fieldwork education through curriculum. Fieldwork activities should be clearly defined by schools and fieldwork agencies. In that way, we can strengthen the opportunity for us to strengthen the curriculum in fieldwork education, defining what is a fieldwork, what are the activities to be done for the social worker during this particular time in the COVID era or post-COVID era, how many casework, case fees, and what are the principles to be followed. In a written letter, we can send it to the agency supervisor, director. Through that, they can follow up. And a training program can also be given for the agency supervisors through online platform. Because our alumni are the strength of the students. If our own alumni, our own institution alumni are placed in the agencies, they can connect together. You can place with that alumni, and then they can make a supervision clearly. In that way, there should be a what is called, it's like a memorandum of understanding with the agency supervisors and the faculty supervisors with the institution. Schools and fieldwork agency can have a tripartite agreement with a specific focus on learning outcome of the students and strategies adopted to ensure the quality of fieldwork and field education. So tripartite means three. I said already. That is with regard to the fieldwork agencies, institutions, and the trainees or the students. There should be a learning outcome. What are the learning outcomes? What are the strategies they adopted to ensure the quality of fieldwork? Quality consciousness is needed. Writing a report itself. Some people, they don't write quality. How the theory which they studied in the class, they are not incorporated in their writing, recording. So those things have to be given thrust on that particular area. Communities can be built by each school in bridging the participatory social development approach more meaningful. The communities can build each school in bridging the participatory social development approach. So that is through participatory, the school can have a connection with them, connecting the social participatory rural appraisal techniques, and how we can connect with community. What are the different time related methods, space related methods, and all these methods can be merged. We can associate with people, and how during the disaster time, how mitigation work can be given. So in that way, new novel ideas can come out through this community development aspect, social development aspect. So these are all the strengths. The fieldwork education, the curriculum can be done. That is the last objective of the session. So concluding remarks. Now finally I'm coming to the last part of the session here. Every school of social work can have community adoption, where each student can give a family to practice direct methods of social work. So I was discussing with my own supervisor. I was asking how to develop this particular thing. So each schools of social work, as every school of social work, can have community adoption. Now already they are adopting. It could be more rigorous, because in this particular time, adopting that village, they need our service, our presence more, rather helping them in terms of facilitating, in which each student can be given a family to practice direct method of social work. For example, one particular family can be given one student. Through that, what happened? Direct methods like casework, group community, there. So this is what a new phenomenon is coming up through this. Many institutions are also adopting this. That I was having a discussion. And the social work, that in that way only, I already told you in this particular session how casework method can be incorporated, how group work method can be incorporated, how social work research can be done. So if a person, one student or two student given one family in the adopted villages, that will help you with having their own way of what is called moving the people with all the SOP rules and COVID-19 protocols. Then they do a field work during this pandemic. And social work educators should come forward in designing the principles of field work. Now, my guide was telling this particular thing, we should develop our own fieldwork principles, rather methods principles. Now fieldwork principles, keeping in view of the I already told you the protocols and the values, ethics, skills to be followed in this virtual world, in this revolution of a technology era. How we have to change the fieldwork principles. Online principle, what are the etiquettes to be followed? On a telephonic way of interview, what are the etiquettes to be followed? And how group meetings to be conducted, and what principles to be followed when we go to use meet the family members, all those things. And then when you meet the family members, how you have to go with, is there is any all the first-hand informations, how the key leaders to be informed, the task force members to be informed, all those principles to be followed, to be jotted down. In this way, social work licensing has to be initiated. Now so far there is no licensing in our in Western countries, in other countries, but lobbying, we need, lack of activities are taking place. Now we have to lobby more on social work licensing has to be initiated by social work teachers through government councils, through government. The importance of social work, it has to be, still it is almost 80 years old profession. Still we are lacking in certain areas. We are not so far come up with licensing of our own social work profession. That is the way. So find out the different models and field work in making the students to be competent through practice to the direct methods. So we have to find out the different modes of fieldwork. So what sort of mode? Online mode, or how we can use virtual mode or telephonic mode, how the different modes, how we can meet each other. Meeting means which place is safe, all those competent, which is more competent, the social work principles, competent principles to practice with the direct methods, which is to be followed, social justice, integrity, all those things to be taken into consideration while doing social work. This is the need of the hour for a social worker during this COVID-19 pandemic. Each social work educator is expected to publish at least one book once in 5 years. This is one particular my guide was telling to me. Because we are lacking our own context-wise, indigenous way of things, or our own contextual related literature is lacking, and the Indian authors are very less. The people who are having expertise, they are working for a long time, more than 1 decade or 2 decades. Why not they can bring out, publish a small book which is based on their fieldwork experience, what is lacking, how they tackle it. So that will be a resource material for on that particular context for the newcomers. So in that way, these are the remarks based on this whole presentation I would like to give. And now almost we have 15 minutes of time to, for 20 minutes of time to go for a question answer session. I hope by this way, I hope I have done some justice for you. Now it's time for you for questioning or clarifications based on my experience. And I also ready to learn what type of issues are facing usually our social work trainees, students during this COVID-19 pandemic in Assam region or another northeastern region as well. So over to the Dr. Bijoy.
Yeah, sir. It's really, sir, you have given full justice to the topic, and I feel very much proud that you have highlighted all the segments from covering from the yesterday too. Yesterday, Dr. Desai sir has highlighted that existing problems, various issues that in our social work curriculum, that means in the field work related, and some of the structural problems that he has highlighted. And touching from that only, you have highlighted that what the current situation that we are facing in the COVID-19, and what I believe that being an educator or the trainer, social work trainees, and we have to find out the scopes in the challenges, within the challenges. So whatever the topic that we have discussed, presented here, it's nicely, and we really went through the practical, and we can relate this. Imagine that everything with the field. So, Sir Kaivila Desai sir is there. Even Dr. Minal Kanti Dev sir is there. So we can have a small discussion only within 5 to 6 minutes, and then if other some queries are there, so we would like to, with your due permission, we'd like to place these queries before you. Kaivila-
Am I
Kaivila
audible?
sir? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You are audible, sir.
Yeah. Uh, Devendran sir,
Yes.
yesterday I had flagged one issue, and I was thinking if you can give your suggestions on that, or what do you think about that?
Yes.
See, sir, when we talk about COVID-19 these days, we see a continuous, across all platforms, we are only talking about COVID-19. Now, my question is that our field work, okay?
Mm.
Now, we have certain fieldwork training requirements for our students. Now, in those requirements include training them for into our methods, values, ethical principles, and all those different issues.
Yeah.
Along with the theoretical framework. Now, uh, you know during this time, like, let's assume that this situation of this pandemic, the way it is panning out, and we are all talking about second wave, etc. This,
Yeah.
I think so, will continue, is bound to continue for another, let's say, an year or so.
Yeah,
Now,
you're right.
during this period, should we place COVID-19 at the center, or should we look and then see how we can integrate our students learning experiences of fieldwork, keeping COVID-19 at the center? Or we should look at this as another dimension within the health aspects of fieldwork interventions, when we talk about fieldwork training through health, with regard to health aspects, and treat it as
Yeah.
one dimension there, as an additional dimension, or we should place this at the center, and our entire training should revolve around COVID. What is your take on this?
My view is it's better to keep COVID-19 as center. Reason is that it is this particular pandemic is unless when once the vaccine goes in our hand or in our body, we cannot move. Such a type of terrible thing is happening. In that way, it is because I was discussing with some of the medical practitioners regarding the intensity of this particular virus. They are also in a bleak. That is the reason I would like to keep COVID-19 and the health issue when we come to the context of social work profession. It is completely based on the life aspects. Thinking of the each person's life is more important. In that way, keeping in view as a center all the precautionary measures which is to be taken care, then they can place either, I was suggesting in this particular presentation, in the nearby adopted villages, with giving all the it is my complete opinion, sir, with regard to in this particular aspect. Your question is really a valid question, because as per the field curriculum, there is a mandate for in a first semester, a second semester, we have to practice primary methods and secondary methods of social work. In that context, your question is valid, but at the same time, we have to see the situation. What is in our ecosystem is happening accordingly. We have Satya, last action.
Sorry, your voice is breaking.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you?
Sir, again, it is breaking a bit.
Satisfied with the answer, sir?
Yes, sir. It's a point of discussion, and we should carry it forward.
Okay.
Yes.
It's completely my opinion regarding keeping the pace in the mind.
Okay. Okay. Sir, another issue was when you're talking about fee, this village adoption. I think so. There is a need that now we start talking about. Between institutions, we need a discussion about how we can go for village adoption, and looking at what kind of field action projects. Looking at an opportunity to launch them as field action projects, and start making those interventions at an institutional level before we start expecting how we bring in our students into the whole aspect. Because right now when will the universities reopen, etc., that's under question mark for the students. But we somehow have started our work again in the universities, and we should start planning around launching some field action projects, like with regard to keeping COVID at the center, and see how our professional abilities can help in any institutional way, how we can render our help as social workers. So this is a discussion which I feel that interinstitutional, like at least if we can start some kind of discussions here between social work institutions in the Northeast, some kind of online roundtable conferences on this, and yeah, and then because these are things that we have to start looking at some alternatives and see how we can approach the field. We can't institutionally approach force our students right now in this situation, but we can start taking that initiative and start being in those communities and see what kind of field action projects with COVID at the center, how to launch them. So that's my
You're
suggestion.
right, sir. Yeah, your suggestion is well. It's a very good suggestion. As far as my knowledge, all the institutions, the fieldwork coordinators of each social work institutions, which is offering in the university level or in the college level, they can have a discussion with regard to this. How during this pandemic situation, effectively we can implement fieldwork mandate in our curriculum. So in that way, it is a wonderful idea, sir. It's a good eye-opening for all the northeastern states to come across to practice social work.
Yes, yes, sir. So let's start, taking cue from this webinar that Vijay has organized. Let's start having some kind of planning, and let's do some planning at the Northeast level, so that then probably at we can approach institutions or other bodies of social work which have probably more resources, and see what kind of suggestions they can offer and what resources they can offer, so that we can start initiating such novel projects here.
Okay, sir, Kavili sir,
Yes.
and so, this is one point in regard to the Kavili sir, and also the Devandiran sir, that you have agreed the suggestion that. So why my plan is that if we go in a short, that is a kind of panel discussion with the northeastern institution or university, those are offering social work. So in as sir told that with the fieldwork coordinators and also the other senior faculty members, if we go with a panel discussion on that is village adoption, so we can I think we can have a fruitful result. So this platform, or Kabila sir has told that roundtable discussion of the conference, that we can focus particularly on the same issues. So what you says, if it is okay, if it is, then we can at least plan for that.
Satya. Nice. Any questions? Some people are asking questions. I saw in the chat box.
Okay, sir. We will take one question, and okay, we will carry our discussion later on also. Personally, we can discuss and we think. So within the time constraints, so I would like to put one question before you, that it's Aibakar Harbuli said, sir, you have mentioned that students can be placed in organizations, but some organizations are not willing to allow them So can you give me any suggestions? Since last week, I have spoken to one organization which works for the aged, and they mentioned that even for new admissions, also there is a fear for them to take. So how can we go with this?
Yeah, it's also the real challenge which is coming across due to this COVID-19. It is based on that uh, uh, Tarbuli has pointed out. I hope you can over phone you can ask them what are the things to be done. Suppose if you want to allow, I will follow. You request them through politely how we can meet and I can do intervention, because it's a learning process. I will adhere to your agency norms and principles. In that way, you can assure them and you can ask them, get the willingness, and then you can do just like that. If they are telling something, no means some reason would be there. So you can ask and you can do it. That is my suggestion for you.
Okay. So if no questions, so if there is no more queries, so we may go to the end of the session. So I would like to request our program coordinator, Dr. Suparna Dhar, program coordinator of social work, faculty of humanities, sociology, pardon me, and faculty of humanities and social sciences, Assam Downtown University, to propose a vote of thanks to our honorable speaker of the day. Over to you, Suparna ma'am.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
sir. We are highly indebted to for your time that you have given to us to enlighten us how to deal with this new normal situation. And sir, from my background, I can whatever you have suggested is not only beneficial for social work, field work for social work people, entire humanities and social sciences are from different background. This is equally applicable, sir. Sir, you have cited about talking about this safety protocols and other issues. So things are definitely beneficial and will be helpful for research scholars because of the new. It's not that because of the new problem that we have to stop with the fieldwork. We cannot do with that. So whatever you have said, sir, is very much applicable for the entire social science. That is what I could understand. Another very interesting fact, sir, you have cited regarding the gender violence that have increased during this new normal. So, sir, from this, this is very true. In this new pandemic, this violence against women have increased a lot. Women Commission have reported. So, yes, this is another area which is very, very nice. You have highlighted, and as you have said that this society itself is a lab. Very truly, for all of humanities, and yes, it is a challenge, very and we should take it positively, that how we can manage ourselves and without any disruption development, the research and whatever activities are to be done in the area of this social that can be continued by with the help of this new protocols. And at the same time, as you have talked about, sir, new things that we can use, for example, telephonic interview, webinars, and other things which can be which is very nicely applicable since we are blessed with technology in this present century. So, sir, it's really we are really grateful, and definitely I will take the opportunity to thank Dr. Bijoy sir for just inviting you. And like we all of us are very lucky, so that we have got a new idea, not only the students, definitely sir, even the faculties of humanities and social sciences, that without any interaction, sir, we can continue. Maybe it is a concurrent fieldwork, or maybe fieldwork orientation, or carrying out with a dissertation, or carrying out with a PhD research work, sir. So we are very grateful, sir, and we hope to see you again, sir. Please help us in continuing with our work. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Suparna
much.
ma'am.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Suparna ma'am. Okay, and sir, one thing I would like to say on the same gender issue. So we are also very happy to share that we are conducting one international conference on the strategic response to gender with experiences from COVID-19. So that I will be sharing with you all. possibly today. So with that, with your permission and with the permission of our Associate Dean, Sir, Dr. Minal Kanti Dev, so we would like to conclude the session by thanking you all, especially Professor Devandiran Sir, for your valuable time and your that you have spent with for us, and our program coordinator, Dr. Ms. Manimugda Medi Sir, program coordinator of sociology, and special thanks to Dr. Kavile Desai sir for his participation in the discussion and the whole session. He was there from the beginning, and other esteemed participants, program coordinator also from our program of psychology, Dr. Manjusa Dekasekia ma'am. So with this, we would like to conclude the session, and I hope we had a great time with all. Thanks all the esteemed participants too. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. I also, it is mutual. I'm also thanking you for a wonderful organization of this particular initiative. I appreciate Dr. Bijoy Das for giving a wonderful chance to meet you all in this online platform once again. And I thank each one of you from my bottom of my as listen carefully everything at the way she I come to understand. Thank you so much, madam, for your inputs which you were given, and also I, as a colleague from my sister Assam University, Kavalia Desai, Dr. Kavalia Desai, for being the whole session. Yesterday I was also there, and no time for me to be to interact with you. It was a wonderful session. Just I commented you, and it is really a joint venture. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm signing off now.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Hmm. 2 hours.